Hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome to the channel. Recently I installed an XTRONS head unit in a 2011 Mercedes E-Class. It's a huge upgrade over the original system and adds a ton of features like wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Since I've been using it for a few months, today I'm going to take you on a tour so you can see what it's like. So let's go check it out in the car. Now before we get started, let's go over some of the specs. This is a 12.3-inch screen with a resolution of 1920 by 720 pixels. It has 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, Wi-Fi and 4G capabilities, and it retains the original command menu while adding wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Now the first thing we have here is the main landing screen. So we have our 3 main apps, which is navigation, Bluetooth, and car autoplay, which we'll go into all of them. But if you swipe over, we also have music, file manager, and a web browser. And on the last screen, we have the NTG menu, the dashboard app, and the settings shortcut. We'll go through all of those, but the first thing I want to talk about is the NTG mode. So that would be this, or in the main menu, NTG menu, and the related NTG setup. So what this is the car's original interface. So the command screen is retained with this. So as we pop in, here we have the original command interface. So you can still navigate it with the dial here. And this allows you to retain the factory navigation if you wanted to use it. Look through your audio settings, including, your built-in EQ, balance and fader, and surround sound options. You can also go through the system settings like time, which is very useful for the clock that's in the dash, or depending on the year, in the center console, and everything like that. So you can still retain the phone connection for Bluetooth calls, so you can use the car's built-in microphone for the phone calls, while all the other audio is routed out through the aux input that this is connected with. Now to back out of this menu, you can just tap the screen, drops us back in here, and that brings us to the NTG setup. So what's really cool with this is that it integrates with the original backup camera. You can be doing anything on the screen here, pop the car into reverse, and it automatically brings this up and pipes in the original backup camera feed. Pop it back into park, and it drops you right back where you were. You also have the option to switch over to an aftermarket rear camera because this unit has multiple inputs, so you could use that as well. We have options for the units that are used. So if you see here, when I use the HVAC controls, we have a display here. Right now it's in Celsius, but I can toggle that into Fahrenheit because it repeats the information that's showed down here. There's a bunch of other settings here. Then the factory head unit parameter settings will depend on the head unit you had or the car you had originally. So you can see here there's a toggle to switch between the 2 NTG types, and this is just for internal settings. So I had the pre-facelift, this is the gold command interface, and then the facelift had this black with the icons like that. I also had factory unit with navigation, so I checked this box. Factory head unit with aux, yes, I checked that box. And you can tweak, you have settings for the original menu resolution and a few other things. Then we have a couple other settings pages: CAN bus info, automatic brake, and clock set. Now the main party piece of this unit is the wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, and you can find that in the Car Autoplay app. So the way this works is you can toggle between CarPlay and Android Auto right here. And to connect your phone, you can just connect to it via Bluetooth and it will be named XTRONS. We also have a couple other options to connect. One is iPhone screen mirroring with AirPlay, and the other one is the CarLetter Cast app for Android. But we're going to focus on wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. To connect your iPhone for Apple CarPlay, it's a standard procedure. You find this Bluetooth signal and connect to it, and then you allow CarPlay, and then it'll automatically connect. And we're in. So you have access to all your compatible apps. Like for me, I use Google Maps, Pocket Casts, and Spotify, and they're all integrated. So any apps you use that are compatible with Apple CarPlay will show up in here. And if they're not on the first screen, you can swipe over to the next screen. If you need to drop out of CarPlay for whatever reason, you can just tap the exit button, jump back in, or you can swipe down from the top and hit the menu button, or the back button at the top right. Now for music, I'm going to use Spotify here. And this is a good opportunity to show you how it sounds. Now the way this unit is connected to the car's sound system is through the aux output. So that means that your steering wheel controls and your volume knob in the middle will work as normal. Turn it down. And use the steering wheel controls. We also have options, the standard options in the settings. You can choose your wallpaper. I currently have it with the black background to match the black trim inside the car, but you can choose whatever you like. Now, like I mentioned earlier, even if you're in Apple CarPlay and you put it into reverse, it'll automatically bring up the backup camera. So you get the feed, and then when you put it back into park, it drops you right back in where you were. So what this means is that you get in your car, your phone stays in your pocket or in your purse or wherever you keep it. It'll automatically connect into the app, and you can go about your day only interacting with this interface. But when you put it into reverse, it'll automatically show you the factory backup camera. So really, once it's set, you don't have to worry. You get a really nice interface, a really nice crisp screen with a lot of screen real estate, and you retain all the nice features that the car had when you got it. Now let's say you want to disconnect your phone, and maybe your friend, one of your passengers, wants to connect their phone. The best way to do that is to turn off the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on your phone, and that will automatically drop the connection. So you can reopen the app, connect the other phone, and you're good to go. So this is a good time for me to show you Android Auto. Now it's the same thing, you connect to it via Bluetooth, you find XTRONS, you want to toggle over to Android Auto here, otherwise it won't switch mode automatically. Connect it, allow Android Auto, and it'll boot right up. So same thing here. We have all the compatible apps in here. A really nice resolution, nice and sharp. And same thing here. You can just pop into Spotify. And there we go. Now, I'm not a very tall person, but even with this side of the screen, I can reach every corner of it really easily. So no issues with that. And what's nice with Android Auto is that you have the split screen, and since the screen is this big, you have a really nice view of everything that's going on in both sections. So yeah, you can just exit back out like in the other one. All right, now with all that done, let's take a look at the settings. So we can get to the settings by scrolling over to the right, or in this main screen here. So the settings are pretty standard Android settings, but there's an extra section that is for car infotainment, because there's a lot of extra features that are designed for this unit because it's in a car. So we have a sleep mode option, which means that when you turn the car off for a certain amount of time, it will just boot right back in a lot faster. If you turn this off, it'll boot from 0 every time. We've got reverse volume suppression, which when you're playing music and you put it into reverse, it will drop the volume a little bit. You can also have it drop it a lot or not at all. We have a boot logo option, which we'll get into a little later, and a reset here. We've got some display options. There's a couple themes we can choose from. We have a daytime backlight level and a nighttime backlight level. So if I put the car into, well, actually right now it's indoors, so it's reading it as nighttime. But if I turn the headlights off, the screen brightness comes up. But when I turn them on, it auto dims. So at night, it'll automatically dim the screens when the headlights come on. Or if you go through a tunnel, things get dark, the screen will dim too, so it doesn't blind you. In the volume section, got different settings here. We have sound here, which is actually a shortcut to the EQ app, but we'll go through it right now. We got a bunch of settings like smart bass, a 30-band EQ, loudness settings, balance settings. Now this will probably be more left and right only. If you want to do front and back, you'll have to do it through the car's command interface because this outputs via the aux input. We have a delay settings and filter settings if you want to tweak things. In our video section here, we have options for reverse assistant lines. Those are for the aftermarket backup camera if you choose to use one. The air conditioner display, so if I use the AC here, you can display it, but if I toggle this off, it won't show anything when I change the settings. Just leave it on, either way works. For navigation, you can choose the default navigation app. So in that landing screen, that navigation app, you can adjust it in here to send you to a different app. Currently it's set to Google Maps, but if you have a favorite offline maps app like OSM you could use that as well. You have some Bluetooth settings, auto connect and auto answer. We have steering wheel controls menu, which you can get into if you need to. I didn't need to. And then an about section. We also have the standard Android settings here, but you shouldn't need to mess with these unless you want to connect to Wi-Fi. Now let's take a look at the included apps. We have navigation, which like I mentioned is Google Maps, though you would need a network connection to use it. We have DSP here, which is the sound settings, which we saw earlier. We've got video, if you have video loaded onto a flash drive connected to the unit. Same thing with music, if you connect a drive with music, you can use it and play it through there. We've got our Bluetooth settings here, which would connect to different phones for phone calls or playing music via Bluetooth, but I would recommend just connecting to wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay. Bluetooth music is the same interface, same menu. We've got our NTG menu and an NTG setup, which we saw, an FCAM app. We've got dashboard, which is interesting. This will actually repeat some of the information from the dash, like the RPMs, speed, and your seatbelt. So that's pretty cool. We've got some themes, you can choose different colors. So that's neat to have. We've got an APK installer if you want to sideload some apps to Android. We've got a Chrome browser. We've got a contacts app, DAB+ if you're in a country that uses DAB+ radio, a file manager, a gallery app, a Google app, a GPS test app, instructions, so you can actually scroll through the general interface instructions, which is very convenient to have on board. Google Maps app, a messaging app, the car autoplay app, which we saw, and if you're connected, will bring you right back to CarPlay or Android Auto. Play Store app, a settings shortcut, and we have a couple other things. We've got the Torque app, so if you have a Bluetooth OBD2 dongle, you could connect it to this via Bluetooth, and you can see a lot of live data, which is very neat. So if we open it up, it's not connected right now, but you get real-time information. So for example, your speed, RPM, coolant temperature, throttle, boost. Well, I don't know if there would be boost on this specific car because it's naturally aspirated, but if you have a later one, it would probably show it. So just some interesting stuff. We have a voice search app and the YouTube app. The included apps are really comprehensive. There's really everything you can think of, but you also have options to install more if you need to. Now, the last thing I want to take a look at is back in the settings menu. Car infotainment, common. We're going to take a look at the boot logo. So I've prepared a PNG file, and I'm going to see if I can load it in to be the boot image. So I set up a 1920 by 720p image with a black background of the Mercedes logo. I'm going to plug it in via USB. I actually ran USB extensions into the center console, but you could also run them into the glove box to connect any devices. And there's a pin. This is 5, 6, 7, 8 for this one. And let's search. Oh, it picked it up automatically right here. We have a few included, but let's set this one. Update successful. Let's see. All right, we'll turn off sleep mode just for now. So now when I turn the car off, it should power this down. All right. Let's see. Oh, very nice, okay. Does that work? Did you say just Android there? And now we have the XTRONS animation right after. And it boots in. All right. That is very cool. So you could put whatever you wanted. If you wanted the logo, you could do that. If you wanted a picture of your car, if you wanted anything you can think of really, you could just make an image that's 1920 by 720, save it as a JPEG or a PNG, and load it in with a flash drive, and you're good to go. That was really cool. Nice little customization. So that's the XTRONS head unit for the W212 E-Class. It's been a really big upgrade over the factory system, and it's been great to have it in the car. If you want to see how I installed it, I'll leave a link to that video down below. And I want to say a big thank you to XTRONS again for making the install and this video possible. If you want to get one of these for yourself, I'll leave a link in the video description. And they also make factory style head units for a bunch of other cars, so be sure to check them out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.